like balled up on the floor, like feeling so sick, man.
Not her, you know. It's not her. You know, you gotta understand something. This woman, it's been a long time since I talked to my mother.
I never thought that I would be without her. You know what I'm saying? It was something that really, changed my life.
And Steve, I'll never forget, the day after, went over Grandma's house. He had the picture. And I just try to stay strong, but Steve, I remember he looked at me. He said, "What we gonna do now, Jeff?" I said, "Steve, God gonna take care of us, man."
What are we gonna do? I was just out of high school and kind of lost in my way at the time, and Steve was in high school at the time, and Jeff was married with his family.
We didn't have too much. We had love within that little core. That's what she left behind. She literally left love behind, something tangible, something that you can feel, something that was real.
I don't remember anything that happened within those 3 months. Like after that happened, like people tell me they would see me, and I'm like, "Oh yeah."
Very devastated by it. Very devastated. He didn't finish high school.
He completely stopped playing basketball at all. I mean, it just wasn't there anymore.
You can see him shutting down. We couldn't do a whole lot for him.
I miss my mom so much. It's been 10 years, and there's not one day that goes by that I don't think about, certain situations, things that she did, with me and with my brothers, and even for my whole family. There's not a day that goes by that I don't think about that.
For 3 months, Steve Francis was lost, trying to make sense of his mother's death. He decided to use it as motivation.
It might have broke him down to realize how precious life is. And then also gave him the knowledge to go forward with his dream.
Back at Tacoma Park, Steve continued to play basketball, mostly pickup games in the basement of the local firehouse. He began to develop a reputation.
Everybody just congregated to this little firehouse, and it was in the basement. And wooden backboards, and everybody would come there, and I'm dogging guys. I don't care where they were coming from D.C., Virginia, Maryland.
The great city ballers, from all over D.C., Maryland, come up there and play, and, he served everybody up in there.
A lot of people thought that, Steve would be just a playground legend where, he was talented enough to make it, but, will he ever put himself in a position, to get to college to be able to do that?
And the whole time. And I'm like, "Dang, what am I going to do next? What am I going to do next?"
Steve decided to try his hand again at organized basketball.
He refocused and rededicated himself. And he has an opportunity to play AAU, Junior Olympic ball, with Lou Wilson.
He's been watching me play all this time. He's like, "Yo, it's time for you to get your act together, and get back on the basketball court, and do some of the things, that you're capable of doing."
Gosh, I'd like to work with him and see if we can get him on our amateur athletic union team, and we could travel and maybe get him a little more exposure since he didn't play high school.
Wilson took Steve to Florida for a tournament. The trip changed his life.
He has such charisma and such style that the little kids would come up to him after the games asking for autographs.
Gave him an opportunity to be seen by colleges so that he could obtain a scholarship.
My assistant coach called me one day, and I think I found a kid, pretty good player. And I said, well, where did he play high school? He said, he didn't. You know, I kept saying, well, where's he from? Well, I don't know.
Steve was offered a chance to play at San Jacinto Junior College.
I'm looking at Lou. I'm like, where is San Jacinto College? He's like, in Texas. I'm like, Texas? I never thought about leaving Maryland to go all the way to Texas to go to school. So I get back home, you know, talk to my family about, you know, the possibility of going to San Jacinto. So my grandma was like, it might be the best thing for you. Then I made the decision to go, of course.
Steve was 18 and a long way from home.
Oh yeah, he definitely was homesick. He was calling like every week, just basically ready to go AWOL down there, talking about he's gonna come back home. But like, don't ever come back, man. Like, just stay down there, man.
When he went to San Jack, that's all I used to hear out of him. You know I love you. You know I love you. You know, he most definitely was homesick.
I'm crying every day telling Coach Janan and Coach Host, I want to go home, I want to go home.
Steve had now grown to 6'3", and his vertical leap had reached an astonishing 43 inches.
He hadn't played organized ball for a couple of years, so he's kind of raw. But about halfway through the year, all of a sudden in games, you started really seeing, you know, how good he could be.
I remember sitting there, I turned to someone next to me and, you know, Steve could be playing for a lot of money someday.
And we made it all the way to the national tournament. We were 36-0 before we lost in the national championship.
Steve had a great tournament, made the all-tournament team up there, and although we got beat in the championship game, that's when he really started getting the interest of people.
Steve was suddenly in demand. He chose to transfer to another junior college. This one just 2 hours from home.
Yes, his brother brought him up, and they looked around the campus, and we talked with him, and, you know, you love the kid right away as soon as you talk with him.
And he said, you just have to believe in me. I'm going to get you to where you want to go. I'm going to get you to the school you want to get to. And the legend of Steve Francis just took off from there.
And there were several times when Steve was here that we couldn't get everybody in our gym.
Those games were like kind of like priceless games, because like you never knew night in and night out what he might do.
Steve Francis, got it on the alley-oop. Wow, leaves it off. Bang! Francis for three.
I averaged like 26, like 5 steals a game.
And this is Francis. Boom! Bang! Oh wow, Steve Francis. It's the Steve Francis show.
We were undefeated. We were 30-0. It's the only undefeated season we've ever had.
Showtime! Bang! Reverse!
It sort of became apparent that that dream was just put on hold, that he's picking it back up now.
Gary Williams, the head coach at the University of Maryland, wanted to see for himself what the fuss was all about.
You heard a lot about him during the summer, too. Like he'd do these unbelievable dunks, or he'd have 40 in a game.
And Steve Francis hangs and scores.
That word gradually gets out.
And a steal by Francis.
Man, when he was there, I didn't miss, man. I'm just pulling up for 3. Da, 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 da. And everybody, you know, everybody knows what I'm doing.
After the season, Steve transferred to the University of Maryland, his 6th school in 6 years.
I don't think it's been that much hype about one player coming to a school around here in a long, long time.
This is the next level for him. You can just see it in his eyes.
Stevie Francis. Showtime.
You want excitement? You got it.
Wow.
Led by Steve, the Terrapins won their first 10 games.
We were unbelievable. We beat Stanford, which was supposed to be one of the top teams. That's when I grew up.
Oh, my. Francis for 3 more. He's 9 for 9.
On his birthday in Atlanta, Georgia, against Georgia Tech, he went baseline on Jason Collier. I mean,
he had like 25 points, had like 7 dunks.
Steve was magnificent, averaging 17 points and nearly 5 assists per game. When the NCAA tournament rolled around, expectations were high. Steve led the Terps to victories over Valparaiso and Creighton. But injuries had slowed the team, and they fell to St. John's in the third round.
You know, I'll never forget that game because I thought that team with Steve was good enough to win it all.
When the season ended, Steve had to make a decision: finish his college career at Maryland or turn pro.
He really wanted to get to that Final Four and win the championship. But after we did the evaluation of talking to the NBA and different teams, it was hard for him to go back.
Clearly, he was a lotto pick. The real issue was where was he going to go in the top 1, 2, 3.
In just 3 years, Steve had gone from high school dropout to NBA lottery pick. But the day he dreamed of wouldn't go as planned.
With the second pick in the 1999 NBA draft.
Don't draft Steve. He does not want to play here.
The Vancouver Grizzlies select.
I do not want to play in Vancouver. So we're at the draft. So it's at my hometown. It's at the MCI Center. So it's jam-packed. My family, my grandmother, everybody, we're all sitting there. So I'm excited. I'm like, yeah, Chicago about to pick. They about to pick. They about to pick. I'm about to get #1 pick.
He's been mentioned all week as a potential #1. What a night this promises to be for Steve Francis.
Steve Francis was on the doorstep of a dream. Only one thing could ruin it.
I'm like, man, Jeff, I do not want to play in Vancouver. He's like, Steve, I understand. So, I mean, I'm repeatedly telling this because we knew they had the #2 pick.
Don't draft Steve. He does not want to play here.
David Stern, the commissioner, comes up to the podium.
With the first pick.
And with the first pick, Chicago Bulls select. I'm like, yes.
Elton Brand from Duke University.
Elton Brand. I'm like, then he goes back up to the podium.
With the second pick in the 1999 NBA draft, the Vancouver Grizzlies select.
So I'm down like this.
Steve Francis from the University of Maryland.
My grandma told me, you know, don't poke my lip out. Go up there.
The Maryland guard looked like he might trip over his bottom lip on the way to the podium.
So I'm up there shaking the commissioner's hand, and he says to me, don't worry about it. There'll be better days. You'll have a great career.
Unfortunately for the Grizzlies, the expression on Francis's face spoke volumes.
And it took us 9 hours to get to Vancouver. I'm like, man, how's my family going to come see me? How am I going to be able to go home, see my family?
The year before, the Grizzlies had selected point guard Mike Bibby. It was unclear where Steve would fit in.
They really didn't have a concrete answer for me, like where I was going to play. So then I told Nate and Jeff, I was like, hey, man, y'all my agents, y'all got to get it done.
Steve held out. He demanded a trade.
There's no question in the public eye there was some damage.
Fans already perceive us as spoiled, and when you're able to come out and dictate where you want to play at and things like that, I mean, that just magnifies that. So, of course, you're going to know the fans going to be